Hey guys, how are you all doing? Are you ready to get started? How many of you are doing like NaNoWriMo or first draft challenges with me? Yeah, so you might have noticed, oh, she's not got the Novelcrafter interface up straight away. No, I thought I would uh get into the mood of the the process by having some inspirational images. So this is today's. It's gonna be Granny in red. Just thought something a bit fun. But yeah, totally not procrastinating, am I? But yep, that's there. And then I want to show you first before I start writing this month's monthly muse. Like obviously because I'm doing Wolf in Red for the entire month, I've not got time to, or I've not got the energy, let's say, to also do some kind of short story. So let's go on to the next screen. Tarot Tales. So this is really cool. Like if we go on it, I don't know if you'll be able to hear the music. But yeah, Jen, yay, 50k challenge. Yeah, absolutely. But with the tarot card, you can choose a spread. So let's say Hero's Journey. I can hear some really spoopy music. I don't know if you guys can. But then you select your cards. And then continue. And it gives you the prompt from it. That can like help you with your story. I spent a lot of time writing these prompts. There's like 270 something like that kind of prompts for this. So, there's so much to try out. Kevin did a great job of like making the images all nice and colored, and yeah, it's great fun. There's different prompts depending on whether you're doing like the world builder or the hero's journey or characters. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun to try out if you're not doing a monthly project and you want kind of something as like a writing exercise or something, Okay, so let's then move on to the Jensen, yeah, tarot. Yeah, it's so cool. Like I think it's and you could always just use the cards that you pull as like an inspiration for your prompt as well if you didn't want to use the things that I've put. So the world is your oyster, as it were. Right, so I'm gonna stick on some music in the background. I'm listening to some noughties classics, if anyone was wondering. It's just like a playlist that YouTube made. Or I'll turn the volume down. So yeah, today's task is to start on the first howl, which is episode 1 of The Wolf in Red. We did get a few new features, of course. So the few that may help, let me go on. Obviously we have Tarot Tales. We have a new undo button and redo button. And we also have a review. We have chapter word counts. Obviously, this book doesn't show anything because we've got no writing, but that's pretty cool and very useful for this. There's also the ability to exclude sections from your word counting. So that is also pretty cool. Yes, Bonnie, we were talking about you for weeks before being like, oh my God, she is going to go crazy when this comes out. So we're very glad you're happy with it. But yeah, I mean, we've planned a lot of these like since like July, August when we concepted the monthly muse. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess that's enough procrastination. I had a nap today and I'm still exhausted. Okay, so my plan, chapter 1, scene 1. Just see how this goes. I will talk through my process as much as possible. If you have questions, let me know. And yeah, you'll see what my process is like without AI. So I'm starting off with, I'm going to send to that because I want to use this, the chapter summary to put things on. Jay Feber says, did the new haiku come out? I have absolutely no idea. We've not heard anything. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's actually been released to the general public yet. And I was curious, high level, in the cases you'd use it instead of sonnet. Haiku I would use for summarizing scenes, anything that's like a long passage of analysis. Like if you wanted to read the entire novel and get feedback, I would use it for that. I've not tried it, obviously, because it's not out yet. So I'm not sure what it's like for prose or anything, but it could be good for like getting first drafts, doing initial analysis, that stuff. I'd be very interested to see what Drunk Lord was like with it. Yeah. Corey says, I'm going to be starting writing December's music this weekend. Oh, amazing. Corey's been writing the music as well. Like, we've all been using this as a chance just to get our creativity out. So I'm very excited to hear what Corey makes. Like, the Ouija music and like the tarot stuff and all of it. Beautiful. And yawns. Right. So this is me first, just giving myself like a more detailed summary. So red and granny chopping herbs, red nashing. 1 minute, something that might help. So control. Okay. Red and granny are chopping herbs. Red nattering on about the latest gossip in the town and how her brother has recently applied for a new job in the next town over. Granny listens intently, but seems somewhat distracted today, looking out of the window. When Red asks what is wrong, Granny doesn't answer at first, but then mentions the full moon. Red rolls her eyes, uh, anticipating another of Granny's fairy tales, um, which she's been told many, many times. I have a diction prompt. Which puts it into prose. Oh, Bonnie says I will get to family magic sometime today. Ouija music must have. Yeah. Let's see if how automatic punctuation works. The new moon. Granny tries to get cancel. Night is quickly approaching. Granny tries to get Red to stay the night in the cottage rather than going out into the woods, but Red protests this, saying she's a big girl now, and that her father said to be back. She doesn't want to make him worry. Granny tries one more time to convince Red. However, when it becomes clear that Red won't be swayed, she gives Red a cloak to keep her warm on the journey and some herbs to protect her. Red doesn't believe the herbs will do anything. Red leaves, humming to herself. Everything seems fine at first, but then she realizes that the woods seem unusually quiet. There's no bird song or animal sounds, and things seem to echo, which is odd because it's a woods, not a cave. She tries to rationalize all of this to herself. However, the further down the path she goes, the harder she finds this to rationalize. She thinks about going back to Granny's, but she's already halfway and doesn't want to admit that Granny was right. The mist starts coming in. Red begins getting a little freaked out and so sings louder to herself as she progresses down the path. She sees a shadow out of the corner of her eye. She quickens her pace. She sees something dart out the path before her and jumps, but then sees it's just a rabbit. She approaches the rabbit, but then notices that it is covered in red, mauled, dying. She turns around, trying to see what it was that caused this injury. Here's another rustle. As she's about to start walking again, she sees something emerge from the trees. She thinks it's a wolf at first, but then things start getting more pronounced. It's larger than any wolf she's seen. It is twisted, gnarled, like a dead tree. And its face seems almost human. Red backs slowly, trying to put some distance between herself and the creature. The creature matches her pace. She turns and runs, dropping her basket. The hunter follows easily, no matter how she tries to block its path, change her scent trail, go over a river. The hunter pins her down and takes a bite out of her leg. She screams. Pain takes over and she can't think. She scrambles, reaching for something, anything that can help. Her hands land on a rock, a sharp rock. She takes that rock and plows it into the hunter's eye. He howls, letting her go. She scrambles back. The wolf, the hunter, is almost back on her when she hears a howl. Another shape comes out of the woods. This one grey, bright like a storm. It leaps at the hunter and begins to fight with it. Red takes this opportunity to run, crawling through the undergrowth, trembling, bleeding. She finds herself a tree hollow and crawls in, curling up in the pain. She feels her sight blurring, pinpricks in. The pain is getting more and more and more. And then she sees the wolf again, the second wolf, the one that helped her. It nuzzles at her, trying to lick her wound. She is confused. She doesn't know what to do. The wolf pushes nearer, nuzzling at her neck. She feels its teeth, but it doesn't bite. It keeps nudging her, trying to get her to do something. She doesn't understand what it wants. And then its ear goes near her mouth and she realizes and she bites. The pain increases and she blacks out. Okay, that is that. Okay, let's make this a little bit more cohesive. But that is my first imaginings of this chapter. It's completely telling. I need to sort things out, but That's my kind of like brain fart of a chapter. I have a dictation prompt that basically tries to turn my ramblings into uh more coherent paragraphs. I mean, you can see that she blocked out. It doesn't quite get my accent. Maybe I should have said it blacked out. Maybe I should do my dictation in an American accent. I think I might just get rid of the punctuation. Oh, okay, it's not on anyway. Okay. How was that? I mean, like, do you find the dictation more interesting to kind of view rather than the typing? I don't know. Like, I've never really done dictation before as like a voice thing. So getting your opinion would be very good. I guess it also means I'm talking more. But yeah, it worked very well to get my ideas on the page. Especially because like I can clear it up and clean it up and stuff. And like I've already got almost 700 words for this chapter, and that's just my kind of like ideas on the page. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I might try um seeing what it's like to dictate the actual prose, but yeah, very good for getting my thoughts down. Um Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad it went well for you guys. Okay. So do you want me to try doing the prose in that way as well and try and like dictate so that it's I mean, it'll be a bit more stop-starty, but I could try. Um, and for the dictation prompt, it's like really simple, but I'm gonna share it on tomorrow's stream, for cleaning up notes and stuff. Like, I was just using GPT Mini. It just kind of like finds natural places to put paragraphs, although they are all very same sizey. Um, what I'm doing now is looking for some medieval French names. Okay, let's see how this goes. Well, you see, Johan has been sweet on Katarina for ages now. He is talking about her all the time, blah, 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 smooth hair, great big eyes that could swallow him up. I don't know. Why do boys talk so weird? Red continued to chop the herbs that Granny had given her as she spoke. The pungent pungent scent, um, kind of off-putting. Like it smelled like mint, but also mint mixed with horse dung. And she wasn't really sure why Granny even had this in the house. It surely couldn't be edible. But here she was, using a knife and chopping it and grinding it. And oh my god, she would not get the scent out of her clothes. Father would be furious. I've realised I've got all these prompt models that I don't use. Ooh, that's quick. It's being good. I mean, it's definitely keeping all the typos like Brett instead of red. Punjo, it kind of smelled like mint, but also like mint mixed with horse dung. She wasn't really sure why Granny even had the stuff in the house. It surely couldn't be edible. Yeah, here she was using a knife to chop it and grind it. Yeah, I think it's doing a really good job because I mean, I ask it. I mean, if anyone's wondering, I say, whenever you're given raw text, reformat to include correct punctuation. Keep the prose words the same. Only add in formatting. Only return the rephrased text. Nothing else. But it is doing. I'll do. I've done like a few comparisons in my testing, and it really is good at just keeping everything kind of. Of course, it means anything that the dictation doesn't quite get right. Red, darling, I think that's what happens when people are in love. Love, ugh. Who wants to think about that? Like, ugh, Red shuddered, thinking of all the weddings that had been in the town this summer. All flowing dresses and flowers and dancing and people getting too close to each other and drinking and smelling really bad, and she'd rather be in the forest any day, rolling around in the mud or playing with the other children. Only father seemed to think that she was to become a lady and do needlework and go to weddings, and she chopped down extra hard this time, splattering the herb on the sides. Granny smoothly took the knife from her hand, placing it on the table. Okay. Granny took the knife. Red looked up. She hadn't noticed it at first, what with Granny always being a little bit odd, but she seemed a little more preoccupied than normal. She kept looking out the window, twisting at the pendant on her necklace, the small locket that she wouldn't open. Red glanced outside to see if someone was there. There was no one, not even the moon. Was she expecting someone? Granny? Oh. Hmm? What was that, Red? Uh, hmm? What was that, Red? Okay, it does seem like I have to do an American accent for it to understand me. Um, okay, let's pause this one. Okay. I said, is everything okay, Granny? What's outside? Nothing's outside, dear. Everything's okay. You keep, or you take this and start bundling them up. We're going to burn them next week to start purifying the vegetable garden. We need everything ready for winter. Red wrinkled her nose. The burning season was always the worst. ... Although she did have to admit that the food they got afterwards was always nice. Every year, Granny won the gourd competition at the fete. And unlike the farmers, hers actually tasted good. I mean, I'll get rid of all the like the okay rather than okay. It's beginning to get dark outside. No. The nights are drawing in, Red. Has your father been putting the circle out as I instructed? The circle? Not this again. Granny, you know he doesn't like Red. This is very important. Yes, I know, but You know what he's like. Okay, well, wait till he's asleep. Hyphen. Father never slept. He passed out. Hyphen. And then begin it yourself. You remember what I taught you? Yes, Granny, I remember. Granny looked outside the window again. Her grip tightened on the locket. Actually, maybe we should have a sleepover. You enjoy staying the night? Okay. Um, okay. Of course, I'll go back and edit all this as things go on, but okay. I can't, Granny. I'm sorry. Dad, Father needs me back. Oh, who else is going to cook dinner? Your brother can manage fine for one night. No, he can't. You've seen how he is. Don't you remember the cookies from last year? Granny paused, seeming to debate with herself. Red, you remember the stories? No, Granny, they're stories. It's fine. I'm not afraid of some wolves. The Order has been dealing with them. We're fine. They've not been here for months. It's not the wolves I'm worried about. Then what is it? Then mod is it? God. Okay, American accent. It's seeming to understand better. American-ish accent. 91 words. Okay, so it seems to be like making them into cohesive sentences. So it's cut a couple of words out, but Granny sighed, tearing her view, no, tearing her gaze from the window. Granny sighed, tearing her gaze from the window. Red felt suddenly uncomfortable under her scrutiny, as if Granny was seeing right through her. She knew the rumours. She knew that the townspeople whispered about Granny and that what she could do was unnatural. But she also knew the villagers liked her spirits and medicines too much to say anything too vulgar. In that moment, Red wondered if there was something behind the rumors. Wait here. Granny scurried off, disappearing behind a row of brooms and clutter. Red could hear the sound of pots and pans being moved about, of clothing rustling, the sounds quickly getting further and further away, even though Red knew that the exterior wall was only feet away. She tiptoed nearer, going to peek around the corner. Ah, here it is. Granny reappeared as if she'd always been there. The sound returned. She was holding a large swath of red material and what looked like a golden clip. Knew I had these somewhere. She thrust the material out to Red, who took it cautiously. It felt soft in her hands, far softer than the fabric her pinafore was made of, far softer even than the wedding gowns she had brushed against mid dance. She looked at the clip. Was that real gold? She looked up at Granny, who was smiling sadly. How did someone smile sadly? It was like the smile Mama made before she fell to sickness. Granny? Red, promise me that you'll be careful, okay? Stick to the path. Granny, I always stick to the path. It's the quickest way home. Yes, but be more careful today. And take this with you. Granny quickly bundled up a selection of herbs hanging from the ceiling, pulling out stems and flowers and mixing them together until the basket was full to the brim. There. And that way you are prepared for any eventuality. What does eventuality mean? It means that if anything happens, you will have something to help. Oh, I love this diction prompt. Okay, I'm also really liking the diction because even with like the summary that I did, I know obviously that's a lot of the word count, but I'm almost at the 1600 you technically need for a day, which, you know, not complaining about. How much? Okay, so 900 words of prose. So it's kind of fitting my I normally write, or like I used to write about 1,000 words an hour. So diction does seem to be quicker. How are your writing going, everyone? Granny took the cloak back, um, shaking it out. No dust came from between the folds, but it smelt lightly of lavender and sandalwood and something else that she couldn't quite place. It smelt of her mum. Granny wrapped it tightly around her shoulders, using the pin to hold each piece closed. It was snug, but not too tight, and she immediately felt warm, as though the winter chill and the draft beneath the door couldn't hit her. Oh, nice! Episode 4 of your serial. How is that going? Are you getting any nearer to starting the publishing of it? Because I know you had some ideas. Just having a quick coffee break. Oh my god, the first episode comes out on Monday. Congratulations. You will have to link it in the share your work and like let everyone know. I think weekly is a good pace because it's kind of like enough for people to be like excited by it, but it's not like so much stuff that you get overwhelmed in the process. So that is exciting. Congratulations. Where are you publishing it? What platform? I'm sure you've mentioned this, but my my memory is not great. There, all set. Travel quickly, little Red. Red rolled her eyes, but gave Granny a quick hug, reaching up on her tippy toes to kiss the old woman's cheek. As soon as the door was open, she grabbed her basket and skipped out into the dusk. Bye. See you next week. Okay, Substack. Nice. Okay. Um the Vosges woods in autumn were her favorite place in the world. The leaves couldn't make their mind up. All green and yellow and orange and red and brown and skeletons as they finally crumbled into dust. The wildlife was vibrant. Everyone scurrying around to get their last bits of food before Hyber, the sleep in winter. Red hummed to herself as she skipped along. Some song they made them sing in church, which had stupid words that made no sense, but the tune was really catchy. Mm. The tune echoed across the trees. Huh, that was odd. Her voice didn't normally do that. Now she thought about it. There weren't any birdsong either, or animals scurrying about, or even the slam of some other predator. It was just quiet. Hello? Her voice echoed back. No, no, this was wrong. Echoes were for caves. Echoes weren't. Red quickened her pace, clutching the basket closer to her chest. Okay, so I need to do a little bit of work on the prompt, but it's fairly good. I mean, this probably could have been thingy, but or even the sounds of mate. Hello, a voice I can back. No, this was wrong. I guess. The only sound she could hear were her own footsteps, the rustles of her own cloak, the slight crackling as the herbs jostled around in a basket. Even the trees were still. There was no breeze. Uh, Maybe going back to Granny's would. Red shook her head. She was being silly. She wasn't a child anymore. She was 10. She could manage a walk in the forest unaccompanied. And she didn't want to admit to Granny that she might be right. The little things. Okay, I don't know what it thought I'd done there. Let's see if it corrects Russell's to Russell's. Yes, amazing. So the prompt does look back at previous words, I think. So it's nice that it's kind of copied the how I do my these for formatting. Only mists at this time of the evening weren't normal. Not this sudden either. Within seconds, she had gone from clear path to almost no vision. She held an arm out, brushing against tree branches, making sure that she was on the right track. She was 10. She had done this route hundreds of times. She could make it back. She could follow the path. She kept repeating the mantra to herself, hoping that repetition would mean truth. That was what they said in church, right? You keep repeating your prayers, and then things happen. She began to sing the hymn. Kate, insert some hymn lyrics here. A shadow. Something darting out before her. Red leapt back, hand pressed to her lips to stop a scream coming out. She didn't scream. She was a big girl. It didn't come at her. Red crouched down, trying to peer at it. It had stopped in the middle of the path. It was small. Okay, small was good. Small meant not dangerous, right? She crept towards it. As she neared, Red's body slumped in relief. Oh, thank God it was only a rabbit. I am just being paranoid. She screamed. Oh, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Even in the mist, she could tell the rabbit was not the colour it was supposed to be. Half its innards were pouring out, coating the fur and matting it in blood. It was one swipe, like a knife, but ragged. Something had big enough claws to do that. Red turned around, peering into the mist, seeing if she could see the predator. Another rustle. Was it a wolf? But the king had said a figure began to emerge from the mist. It wasn't quite anything she had seen or had heard about. It was walking on all fours, but all the weight was on the hind legs. Its front legs, arms, brushing against the dirt as it prowled towards her. The nearest thing she could think of was a wolf, but this looked nothing like any dog she'd seen. Its limbs were twisted, knotted, looked like a dead tree, all out of place and painful to move in. And its face, Red couldn't look away from the face. It was flatter, yet more defined. It seemed almost human. Oh, right, okay. Dictation. She began to send. Okay, some of this like diction stuff is hilarious to see, this dictation stuff that it comes at. Let's see what it does with this. Struggling to keep her breath steady, Red began to back away. Step by step, slowly, hoping that the creature wanted the rabbit, not her. The creature matched her pace. Each time she moved back, its arms would come nearer, stretching out. Only its paces were bigger than hers, and soon she could hear it. The grunts and snarls and the guttural shake as it breathed. Guttural. Red did the only thing she could. She abandoned the basket and ran. Straight to the village, straight to safety, straight to light. Only it was approaching, it was getting nearer. She glanced behind and it was there, snapping at her heels. It would outpace her. She dived to the side into the woods. The trees were thick and close together. Maybe she could. She looked ahead. There was a river. If she could go somewhere that it couldn't reach. She abandoned the path and tore off in a new direction, hoping to whatever gods existed that she would find something. She staggered to a halt at the edge of the river. It was deeper than she remembered, the water's moving quicker. Snarls behind her. Rapids before. Red closed her eyes and bent her knees, ready to risk the rapids. Something caught onto her. A sharp pain in her leg. The sensation of losing weight, of being yanked back. Her body wouldn't cooperate as her head slammed against the ground. Cloak matting in the mud as she was pulled back. She looked up. The creature was there, staring at her. Her leg was in its mouth. She screamed. Pain, pain, sharp pressure. blood coming out. She she couldn't think. She couldn't. She tried. She scrambled, reaching for something, anything that could help. Grass, sticks, nothing that could help. She clung on to the soil, hoping to find a grip. It kept pulling, dragging her. Her hand landed on something sharp. She grasped it. It dug into her hand. Turning to the side, she saw it was a rock. The creature was still grunting. Mm. Visual PDF support, and yet no Haiku 3.5, guys. Lefa? Do you have this? I've got, at the moment, I'm now like, oh, I want to edit. I want to like cut this down. I want to sort things out. But then I'm also like, no, Kate, the literal point of this is to get a first draft out. I think because I'm so used to when writing with AI, immediately going in and editing and honing it and getting it nearer to a polished first draft. Whereas this is literally me. Um, okay, that wasn't in originally. Um, yeah, no, I it makes me want to go in and like really edit this, but I'm like, no, no, I need to just get words out. I need to get this first draft. The creature was getting closer. It's more no longer satisfied with its purchase, trying to bite down on her leg again. It was distracted. She plunged the rock into his eye. The creature howled, jaw releasing. Ah, Corey says I tend to edit the prior day's writing before starting today's writing. Yeah, I might do that off screen maybe then, like, so that I can kind of get something done. It depends, because it's like, oh, the whole point is getting this, just getting the draft done, but then you're like, oh, but I want to fix things, and I mean, this is definitely too long for what I'd intended for, like, a chapter. I was kind of wanting them to be about 1,500 words, so I'm definitely sure, like, I can condense this, but, I suppose, you know, I'll work out what my workflow is. She took the chance, scrambling back. The hunter was clutching at its face, its front paws moving more like hands than feet as it reached in and pulled the rock out, flinging it to the side. Black ooze gushed from the wound, but it still looked at her. Now, in the dark, she could see that its eyes were glowing, that the thin slits seemed to take in everything around her. It bent down on its haunches, ready to pounce. A howl. The creature's attention snapped to the side as another shape came out of the trees. Grey. Bright like a storm. A true wolf. It leapt at the hunter. Was this something else competing for prey? Would it go for her next? The two creatures began to fight. Or no, that wasn't it. The creature kept moving towards her, the wolf snapping, biting, distracting it. Red took the opportunity, pressing down in the dirt and pushing herself up. She collapsed immediately, hissing in pain. The pain, oh God, her leg. She could see where her dress had torn, where flesh had been ripped from her body. Bile rose in her throat. She swallowed it down, forcing her weight on the good leg. Not looking back. Ugh. Trembling on adrenaline alone, Red crawled through the undergrowth. She kept her leg off the ground as much as she could, desperate to avoid leaving a scent trail. But each time she thought she got the hang of it, her body would collapse to the ground, exhausted. Behind her, snapping, snarling, biting, howls. She forced herself to not look back, to not see who was winning. As she crawled, the mists began to lessen. There, in front of her, a tree, a gnarled old thing that was thick and stable and not at all like the creature. And within it, at eye level, a nook. It was her lifeline. She um with each step she took, each movement towards it, she could only think of a chance. She could hide, wait it out. It couldn't get to her. She was small. She was. No. She couldn't think like that. It felt like an eternity. But eventually her hands landed on solid wood. She curled her fingers around the opening, pulling herself up, unable to use her legs for support. She tucked them in first to protect them, hoping nothing else was there. And then she pulled in her body, squeezing into the crevice. One of her arms was bent at a weird angle, the other not quite hidden in the tree. But she pulled and wriggled and squeezed until it popped in. She peeked out. There was still enough light to see the two figures circling each other. But it was blurred. Pinpricks piercing her vision, obscuring bits. She tried to focus to make out who was winning, but the corners of her vision were blurring or crowding in. She blinked, and it felt like an eternity until her eyes opened. A creature was nearer. She whimpered. And this is just using 4.0 mini. Like, this is like a dirt cheap model. It huffed. Huffed. Red opened her eyes, trying to make out its form. It was the second one. The grey wolf. She, her eyes went hazy again, but she could feel something wet. Wet? Against her leg. The snout pushing in the crevice, making no move to snap. What was the wolf doing? Was it... The wolf pushed nearer, nudging at her, pressing its snout into her stomach, her neck. Red could feel its teeth, but they were grazing the skin, not biting. It kept nudging her, pressing against her, like her brother would do when she didn't quite get something. What did it want? Fur brushed across her lips, pressing against them. An ear. An ear? Why was it... The pain was growing. She didn't know what to do. She could feel, oh God, was she dying? The ear kept going nearer and pressing, and she could feel it on her teeth. And she opened her mouth and she bit. Okay. Oh my God, guys. Chapter 1 done. And in about an hour and a half as well. 2,700 words. Okay, I'm... Like... Oh, thank you, Corey. Okay, so the inbuilt Windows dictation software is not the best. It might be my accent, it might just be I'm using weird words, but the AI does seem to like be able to clean it up mostly. Like it kind of gets when it's a word that the dictation software isn't misdictated and it's kind of making scene. It had a big issue with ear. But you know. Ha, thank you. Hopefully that was interesting for you guys to listen to as well. Like, I guess it's kind of like an audiobook where the reader doesn't know what they're reading either. um, ha, my average is so low because I have loads of chapters that I haven't done anything in. um, okay, but very interesting. I'm now going to take this to Drunk Lord. Because I can't use AI with writing the prose, but I can chat with the scene after to get someone's opinions. Chat with scene. Select AI. Analysis. Oh no, I need to use the old one. Oh, I'm glad it's good company when writing. Yeah, I guess I've got like you can hear you just like constantly got someone's like stream of voice, but you don't have to like concentrate too hard. I mean, it's probably not going to be a great. I'm kind of cringing, but like again, first draft, I'm pantsing it. Like, I mean, that's exactly the vibe I was going for, but you know, sure. Less sex and more violence. Okay, interesting. It's like had a lot of complaints, and yet it's still like, oh, it's actually, you know. What's that about? Are you leaving notes for yourself in the middle of the story? Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Oh, listen, I know I'm being harsh, but it's because I care, all right? Ha ha ha. Okay, I need to check that. Okay, that's some good feedback. That is as Corey as we say, it's very actionable feedback. So I'm happy with that. Like, you know, um it all feels about right. I was kind of thinking the front bit was a bit heavy-handed. So yeah, I can sort that out. I can work on that. But yeah, okay. So that is session one. I was aiming for them to be about an hour and a half, just so that I'm not getting exhausted doing a stream, like doing so many streams every day. Tomorrow's stream will be at like the normal time, the normal class, and then later in the evening, I'm going to do another of these streams. Kind of like later in the day, so it'll be like I guess afternoon for y'all in America. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, I'm happy with the chapter. Like I've got something. I will. I quite like the process of doing a super long summary and then trying to make it into prose. I think that works for me with this. So I will continue doing that. Um, and yeah, well done, Jen. And you're welcome. But yeah, well done on your words. And everyone who's doing writing, writing is hard. So give yourselves a pat on the back because we're all doing something pretty darn awesome. Here is the image that I generated for this. I guess it doesn't work because she only gets the cape after. We'll work this out. Maybe she doesn't get given the cape by Granny. I don't know. those details can be worked out in the edits for episode 1. But at least it's written now. So that is good. And I will see you all tomorrow for part 2 of things you can use AI for to help with writing that isn't actually doing the writing bit. So yeah. Talk to you soon. Bye.